Red,
Flash.
red. I got red in my cup.
Got some Doritos here. Thanks for the
There's red on that
sponsor. I wish
bag.
we had.
My RGB on my mouse is not red, but it'll get there. My
My
keyboard's
cat,
red.
Lucy. Hi.
Hi, Lucy. I got an extra red hat.
Okay.
Um, Togepi has red on it.
Okay. Oh, my mat that like my game thing. It's Horde.
There you
Red.
go. There you go.
Red.
I got red on my electrode right here that I painted.
The
Um,
stain on my oh
what?
well
I got the Flash hacky sack.
oh my
So much.
credit my Target card. Here's the information.
But the reason why red is so important is because this week's episode of the Glazier Gamble podcast, which we're watching right now, is all about red things.
Wait,
And
say
or
that.
listening.
I wish you were in Discord. We could have been. Do-do-do-do-do. Good money.
um, See, but if I'm in
Red.
Discord, then it won't connect the audio on
That's
this.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
um, but it's red because we have all red topics to talk about today. We got Madam Web, we've
Yes.
got Deadpool 3,
Yes.
we've got Spider-Man 4,
Yes.
and we've got God, what was the last one? And Daredevil.
Nah.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
So we got four red topics to talk about because yeah, Marvel has some news. We're covering Marvel news and it's all red. So
Yeah, and then we're gonna finish it up with just talk on the Republican Party.
oh God, please no. And I'm out later. Yeah, so we got some fun stuff to talk about today. So go ahead, go grab a Mountain Dew Code Red and brush your teeth really, really hard and then let's get going. What do you want to talk about first today? Do you want to cover the one that
I
everybody's
think
most excited for with Madam Web?
I well, I think that's a good time. I think Madam Web is a good starting point, simply because I know Luke is a big proponent of Hot Ones.
I am. Yes.
So if you go check out Hot Ones, the actress that stars in Madam Web, Sydney Sweeney, is on Hot Ones. It's really good. So go check that out. But yeah, why
Yes.
don't we start with that?
I'm just a big fan of people that first of all, just big fan of people that are like entrepreneurs, people that can make their own business.
Sure.
But especially the FODs, the first only difference, like Hot Ones is the first to do what they're doing, and
Right.
everybody, like so many people tried to copy it.
Sure.
Not they were the first, they were the only, and they were different at one point. Like they just genius. So
Right.
I love everything that they're doing, and like Sean Evans, super good. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, let's talk Madam Web. They did a new poster, new all that stuff.
Right.
Um,
The new final trailer
yeah, and a
too,
new
like a
final
final show.
trailer. They also talked about how Madam Web is going to be. Now, I'm going to say this is
Possibly.
it's
Possibly.
possibly,
Right.
yeah. So it's not like fact, but it's possibly going to be in its own universe, separate from every single product, not from every Marvel product, from every Sony product that we've
Right.
seen. So not connected to Morbius, not connected to Spider-Man, not connected to the Avengers, just its
Right.
own.
Right.
Here it is.
Yeah, I don't know about that because that is pretty fairly recent news.
Yeah. Not only
Um,
that, but it would be the dumbest decisions. Like Sony has made some bad decisions. That'd probably be the
right.
worst one yet.
More on that later in talks of Spider-Man, Spider-Man 4 possible, but Sony is not the greatest business making company.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. I mean, Madam Web is definitely a unique story. It's a different take on Madam Web. Because obviously she's like this old, decrepit, like psionic ability, kind of like the Doctor Strange of the Spider-Man universe, kind of with
Right. And
magical
almost like a
properties.
Kingpin-esque where she kind of when she's not because she's old and decrepit, she's not always involved physically in
Right,
what's going on, but she does have her hand in like telling people what to do.
right, right. Yeah, she's spinning the web or spinning the web of the story. A little bit kind of probably like how Loki is a little bit. That's kind of how I imagine her comic version is kind of like she's involved in all these different kind of spider people. Yeah, so Dakota Johnson is the lead in that. Sydney Sweeney among two other female actresses and the male actor that plays the villain.
But yeah, I want to see it right away. I'm still just
Yeah,
like every Marvel product. Like I know that we are slowly becoming the not necessarily minority, but the demand for Marvel products is getting lesser and lesser, which
right.
I get it. People don't want the same thing over. People don't want like dynasties a lot of times in sports. People don't like when
See, I'm a
this
huge fan of dynasties. I like
right. I like
dynasties.
dynasties
So
and
like,
look at politics. You mentioned politics. Every other president is like the different party.
right,
People don't want consistency.
right.
And I think Marvel is one of those things that's been a consistent dynasty that a lot of people are getting sick of, and you and I, fans of
I mean,
dynasties.
I mean, we constantly say Marvel's not made for you, it's made for me. So like the fact that like if you don't like a property or you don't like a Marvel property, whether that's Madam Web or the Marvels or whatever, like that sucks. But like I like it. Like
Well, and it's
like
why we're seeing the success of the street level villains. Like right now, a
right.
lot of or street level characters is they use less visual effects, so it costs a lot less to make those shows and those movies, and they have to focus more on like the story, so more people enjoy it because
And
it's
the
a lot
fight
less focused.
choreography.
Right, it's a lot
Right.
less focused on is it something like it's super good to watch? You have to see it on a big screen, and it becomes more of a like for the nerds that it's like, yeah, let's see how they connected to the comics. What's the story gonna be like? You actually
Sure.
have to have sitting dialogue scenes. You can't just
Right.
have exposition that's
Right.
not like useless. And I think that they're kind of, from what I've seen of Madam Web so far, it kind of feels like they're going away from like obscene visual
Sure.
effects. They
Right. I
do
mean,
seem like there's
it's
going to be a lot
essentially
of
street
unnecessary
level.
visual effects. Right. It does seem street level. That's what I
I
mean.
mean,
Like, yeah.
it's essentially street level with the fact that Madam Web can see something happen, kind of rewind time, or see it happen prior and then come back to that point, then like try to fix what she's seen. So
Which, on that, just quick side note, I was talking
sure.
to a guy at work who has zero interest in Marvel. He
Okay.
actually saw the first Avengers movie and didn't like it. So, like, zero interest.
Sure.
I mentioned the Madam Web being able to like I didn't know how I felt about her just being able to like go back and retry it. Like
Yeah,
it's
so I don't
I have
necessarily think it's like a retry thing. Like does she only we'll have to see when we watch it, but is it
yeah.
like a it's not like a time stone rewind constantly, you know what I mean? Like it maybe she just
Or is it like
lives
Loki where he could try 1,000 times, she could try a thousand
yeah.
times? Like what is it?
I don't know. I would like for them to have some consistency where it's like she just lives through that moment and then cuts back to what she saw
Sure.
rather than like, oh, we failed. We failed. We failed.
Well, when I
We won.
mentioned that to
Like,
him, he said if that's what it would as somebody who's not interested in superhero stuff, that would be an interesting movie for him.
keep rewinding till you win type thing.
Or just
Or
like maybe if you we rewind once and try
right.
again, like even if it's a
Yeah.
one-time thing, he
Right.
just liked the concept of it. And I was like, okay, well,
Yeah. So
maybe this is
I
kind of
mean,
their target, is they
I
want to
think it
get
would
people that aren't
be
necessarily interested.
right. I think it would be cool to just almost like, and it seems very like brain telepathy, psych telekinetic kind of stuff, where it's like, it's all that whole moment happens in her brain, I guess, and then she snaps back to reality where her like brain is ahead of her. I guess that's kind of how I see it, and I think that'd be a really cool
Where she
kind
has
of
like
thing.
ESPN and she
Right?
can
She has like ESPN, yeah.
okay. So
So
she'll be able to tell 30% chance of rain if
right, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's how I see it. I hope it's something like that, and it's not like we can just hit the oh shit button and go back in time. Like,
That's what I hope it's not. I
Yeah.
really hope it's not like, oh no, let's go back and try again. I would
Right.
be fine if it's a one time, like, oh, I get one more chance at redoing it because otherwise I
I
expel all my
guarantee
energy.
it too. It's gonna be like she has this like this this is gonna happen. I know it. It's just scripted in superhero movies, and Sony's not smart enough to change that. It's gonna be a point where all of her friends, the three other Spider Women, are like dead, like or seriously injured, like dying, and she's gonna be like, I don't know what to do. The villain's gonna seem like like he's about to win, about to like stab Madam Web. It's all gonna be over, and then all of a sudden she's gonna snap back right before all of them are like up um the
Twilight.
Galaxy Quest Project 13 or whatever it was, where they rewinded time 13 seconds. That's what's gonna be the final thing.
That would
I
be yeah. It's or is it going to be like the final Twilight movie where they showed the final battle, multiple main characters getting killed, and then they just like say screw you to the audience, and we found out that it was all depicted into the villain's head, like this is what's going to happen. Do you want
yeah,
to do it?
yeah.
And like because
Something
fans
like that.
hated that.
Yeah.
Are you going to do what fans hate? Because it is Sony that would be very consistent in
Yeah.
doing what fans hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there's already memes material already too.
Expectation wise, out of 10, what are you thinking?
It's on like I feel like I crap on Sony and like every time we've talked about Sony, I feel like I'm quite
It's
harsh.
tough.
I
Like
feel like I'm about as hard as I am on Warner Brothers as I am on Sony.
I think you should be because it's essentially a studio that has a project they don't know how to do,
Right. Yep.
essentially. So, I mean,
It's
they're both the
almost as
same.
if
You could
you know
even
what
say that
AI
for
is a common like is a popular topic. It's almost as if they have AI write like an early version of AI writing their stuff and then they because they have the money, they just go with it. As
right,
opposed to like taking the proper time, hiring the proper people, they want to cut corners on all the important things and then throw money at it and hope it comes out
right,
great.
for
Like
sure.
I feel like that's how everything comes out. Like Venom, for example, like it felt like it was a movie written by somebody who never read one Venom comic.
Right. Well,
And
and
Madam
they
Web's
and
already leaning that way for me is like you
it's
don't seem
tough
like you
because
know
like
what Madam Web is.
Sony had the opportunity, but they didn't have the balls to do it. They had the opportunity to make a universe that was brutal. And I don't mean like brutal as in like completely gory, but like Venom, if you wanted to make Venom PG-13, okay, that's fine. You're building Venom as a character, but then like you missed an opportunity to just show what Venom really is, and that's just a lethal protector. So I don't know. They didn't have the like balls to do it. They didn't have the balls to show us which Spider-Man is in this universe.
Right.
And they probably still don't.
They
But
only
they
put
got
in like and just calling yourself a lethal protector is not good enough.
yeah, yeah,
Like, oh, we're gonna give this to the fans and call ourselves a lethal protector. No, you want to give something to fans, be a lethal protector and show
yeah,
it.
right,
Like
right.
show him bite somebody's head
Yeah,
off. That's fine.
you got two Sony Sony Universe of Marvel characters movies this year. You got Madam Web, and then later this year you got Kraven.
Sump.
Um, so the Sunk, yeah. I mean, you gotta tell us what Spider Man's in this unit. In what are you doing
Yep.
over there?
Which,
So,
okay, so you asked me what are my expectations for it.
yep,
Eventually, I do want to say who do you think is the Spider-Man of this universe if it is connected.
sure.
Um, my expectations, because I am harsh on Sony, I'm expecting about a 5 out of 10 movie.
Okay. That's that was what I was gonna say too.
Like
You could say four, you could say six. Like I'm in that kind of middle range.
I would say an average movie is like a 5.5 to 6.5, like somewhere in there.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be a slightly below average movie. Is what I'm kind of expecting. So
Sure.
if you said like it came out, and we ended up saying it's a 4. That would actually be the lowest score we've ever given a movie
Right.
on this. But
Yeah, Black Widow, we give like a 5.5 or something like that. Like
yep, Black
Black
Widow
Widow was
currently is the lowest. Which for those of you that, want to jump to conclusions right away, we've also given very high scores to compared to others for like the Marvels, Miss Marvel,
Yeah, a
and
lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people call.
She-Hulk.
Not a lot of people, but a lot of people have said like we're too MCU,
Yep.
pro MCU.
We've gotten
Uh,
multiple comments on people saying these are the MCU supporters.
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, Black Widow is our lowest.
yeah, exactly. But we try to find the positives in it. So
We always try to find the positives in everything. So we're gonna come out of Madam Web with something we like.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
my
just out of the
issue is
trailer,
like,
like costumes looked great across the board. So that's already I'm going into there expecting good costumes. So I'm expecting
yeah.
good.
But while
Uh,
visual effects aren't going to be a massive part of it, it does, based on the trailer, look like visual effects may be unnecessarily used sometimes.
sure.
Like the waviness around her that almost is like Spidey senses
Yeah.
doesn't seem needed.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that ends up looking in the
Right.
movie. Um, so yeah, we're both expecting around between 4 and 6. I think that's fair. I am expecting just straight up like 5, probably not. Like if you compare it to here's like a fun little thing.
That's how I usually explain a lot of things with me. Here's a fun little thing.
I'm gonna look up movies that are also 5 out of 10 on something like IMDb. So the original Mad Max is a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
A lot of people like that movie. Judge Dredd, considered like a cult movie. A
Sure.
lot of people recently think it's really good, but most people when it came out hated it.
Sure.
5 out of 10. So does this have a potential to be a cult-like movie? Beowulf, most people hated that. That's a 6 out of 10. Uh,
Yeah, that CGI was rough in that.
and then if like most Sylvester Stallone movies are 5 out of 10.
Sure.
So compared to what most people think, 5 out of 10 is actually like a terrible score. But
Right.
and for us, that would be our worst.
Sure.
But I think it's fair to assume, based on what Sony has done and what they've shown us so far, as well as some of the rumors, expectations should go low. And it's all right if they exceed them. Like if they get
Here's the
that's
crazy
fine.
here's a random crazy thing. I think Madam Web has the potential to be the worst um SUMC product. I actually
Yep.
didn't think Morbius was that bad, but I think people hate Jared Leto, but I
Yeah,
didn't think it
that's
was
huge.
that bad.
That's a huge
I
part of
think
it.
and but so I think Madam Web has the potential to be the lowest SUMC movie, but I think Kraven has the potential to be the best Sony universe of Marvel characters movie.
It's
So
because
this is going to
everything we've
be
heard about Madam Web is exactly everything you hate about, like what most people hate about the Sony universe. They didn't cast the people that we wanted them to cast in certain roles.
right.
We don't aren't excited about how cheesy certain things already look in the trailer. And then you go to Craven and it's like, yes, rated R, that's what people
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
They cast Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yes, it's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, they're making him an anti-hero, but they admitted he's not going to be anti-hero. He's going to
Right.
still lean more villain.
He's
Great. That's what.
murdering people. Yeah, like
So
he's
you're
straight up
giving
murdering
fans what
people.
they want. Crazy.
Yeah.
People's expectations are going to be way
Yeah.
higher.
Right.
It's I think that's a huge part of it is their Madam Web has a chance to be the worst Sump movie because it's leaning into everything that people have constantly complained about.
Right.
Which,
Sony females like
yep,
but
female-led
honestly though,
story. Yeah,
yeah,
female-led
like
story, poor
yeah,
lighting, Sony, uh,
plot.
yeah, cheesy plot line, cheesy writing. It's got everything and refusal to commit to how it connects to other things,
Right.
which
Right.
I think it would be the Andrew Garfield one. But
Yeah, I hope it is.
and I want
So,
people loved him, so they want to see him back, even
right.
if it's just a quick little thing. If you bring Andrew Garfield on screen in a Spider-Man uniform for a post-credit scene, for a 2-minute scene, for a on a picture on TV on a
Yeah, you
TV
know
in
it
the
would be
movie,
sick. Like, okay, we spent probably too long on this
we
topic,
have.
but
Yep.
um but like he said that he's kind of down in the dumps or he stopped pulling his punches. He got very dark in his universe. Like his universe went downhill. He got really dark.
Yeah.
Madam Web for Madam Web to show up at his door when he's in that very low state, I think would be how you kind of turn this around. Like
Sure.
he's just in this horrible spot. He's I don't know, not really,
Well, since we're on the topic of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man,
right,
let's talk about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Spider-Man
right,
4.
right.
Turns out that there is going to be a villain that we have never seen on a live action screen before. And they did specify live action, which means we've probably seen it animated.
Sure, which we've seen Scorpion
Right.
animated, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure. Yeah,
Scorpion,
so
Shocker. We've seen a good
yeah.
amount.
So
90% of people think it's Scorpion.
yeah.
They showed Scorpion in No Way Home when the
Yeah.
tears were there. I think it's going to be Chameleon or Scorpion.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
never
No.
seen either, and those are the two most asked
Dude,
for.
Scorpion would be insane. Like
Yep.
crawling down the side of buildings, like giant poker thing. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get Kingpin in there as well.
Sure.
What we've seen Kingpin live action. So yeah, I think it's gonna be Kingpin and Scorpion. You're gonna get a little Spider-Man, probably Daredevil, because you also teased that in No Way Home.
For sure.
And in my opinion, that's it. Like that's all I would do. I obviously
We don't
said
need to see a whole Sinister Six.
yeah. In my opinion, I've said this before. I think they missed the ball in casting, say, a Black Cat. Because
Yeah.
I think if Peter Parker and MJ are no longer a thing, he needs to have that struggle to be like, oh God, like there's also this like bombshell girl that's interested in me in college. Now I'm conflicting like relationship wise. So yeah, I think those three, Kingpin, Scorpion, Black Cat, that's who I'm for. Little side thing of Daredevil. And apparently, like early rumors had Ant-Man as like the A-list Avenger that Sony can use in their movies. So
Okay.
maybe just a little tidbit from Ant-Man, like promotional speech or whatever, and then he goes on his way.
Do
So
you know if they can use Hulk?
I think they can use that would also probably have to be a deal with Universal, kind of.
Because
Not
that
a bunch
was
of
in the comics when Peter Parker removes
oh yeah,
his
Hulk
Hulk
remembers.
remembers, but Bruce doesn't.
Banner doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So because that's one way if they wanted to tie it to the comics, they could bring Hulk in and do that.
Sure.
Maybe Ant-Man remembers because he was in the quantum realm.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
He's like maybe he was in it just at the time of it happening.
Yeah.
So either makes sense. Either has a way out for you to know who Peter Parker is. So I think
Right.
Ant-Man, if that's who it is, great. Tom Holland and Paul Rudd on the same screen is going to be hilarious.
Right. Right.
And Scorpion with Tom Holland, I got to see how he acts to getting stabbed because one of my favorite
Oh yeah.
scenes on
Yeah, like
in movie history. So I think Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original like 3, is probably the best trilogy that's ever come out. In my eyes, it's the best movie trilogy that's ever existed.
sure.
And one of the big reasons is Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood, yeah. Yep.
I keep for some reason I was blanking, like thinking Elijah was wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah, Elijah Wood. I feel like his acting is way too good, especially for how young he was at the time. He was like 17 in the first movie.
Sure.
When he gets stabbed by Shelob, the big
Sure.
spider,
Right.
that scene of like when he gets stabbed, his face, everything about it is like
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I was like truly like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Even watching it as an adult, it
Yeah.
feels like he's getting killed.
Right.
It almost feels like he's expressing an emotion that he's never known how to show before.
Right.
And I feel like Tom Holland has the ability to
Oh,
show us that.
yeah. I was gonna say he totally could do that for sure.
And right, like the way where he was given very little guidance on when he was snapped, and he
Yeah.
pulled that off where he made the
Yeah.
audience cry.
Yeah. Where it's like just act like you don't want to go. All right. Well,
Oh, okay, here,
I
let
want
me
to
give
go.
you
I
something
want to
that's gonna be the
go.
best fucking thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
um,
I watch it. I'm sitting there watching, and then I go.
who's cutting onions? This theater is
Yeah.
closed. I want to see him get stabbed. I want to see Tom
Oh yeah.
Holland get stabbed in the chest,
Right.
and I want to see it happen in the movie.
Right.
No, I want to see it. I feel like he would portray that really well, and I think Scorpion from a like financial standpoint, a movie making standpoint, would be way easier than Chameleon.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Chameleon would
Or
be
even like
in
Mr. Negative too. Like so
Mr.
that guy
Negative would
that
be
name
hard
because
too.
the actor who played him, but like all that like I
It
know what you
would,
mean.
yeah, it would be constant visual effects. It would be constant. It'd just be
Right.
Scorpion would be the easiest, the most financially like safest to go with, and
Action scenes would be badass too.
you can still have sweet action scenes without
Yeah.
confusing people. Like Chameleon would be difficult,
You're gonna
but
get a big giant green ass scorpion guy. Like that's
yeah.
like
So if you said they nailed it, A plus 100% nailed it on Scorpion and Chameleon, and Mr. Negative, whatever you want to.
right.
I think Chameleon would be the one that blows fans out of the water. Like that would
Right.
be the one to be like, if they nailed it, it would be one of the
See,
best superhero
see, here's
movies
the
we've seen.
thing though. I don't think you can do Chameleon because you're gonna have Chameleon and Kraven.
Right.
So like you're going to drop this Kraven and you're gonna have his brother Chameleon in there, and then all of a sudden like they're gonna see this Tom Holland one and they're gonna be like, it's a different Chameleon.
Yeah.
So that's how that's
And there's the last part of it, I think, as well, is if you throw in Chameleon, you screw Craven, and you're
yeah,
not going to want to do that.
right.
So I
So
think most people are correct. It's going to be Scorpion, and I
right,
think it's 100%. It's
right.
Scorpion,
Yeah.
which that's fine because I think Scorpion's going to be so cool to see.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, and then, maybe they'll slide in Ant-Man, maybe they'll slide in Kingpin.
Right.
If they
Black
don't,
Cat, maybe.
I'm always fine if they do no cameos. I know fans love cameos, like Daredevil and Echo, people loved it. It was one scene, it was a perfect amount. Like you
Right.
don't need
Oh,
cameos.
100% it was a perfect amount.
Yeah. So that I hope that's where they go with. That's what we think. Who do you think it'll be? Let us know. Twitter, comments. Let's move on. We have two last red topics. That's Deadpool 3 is finished wrapping up
Well,
filming,
Daredevil that
and
we
Daredevil. We were just talking
talk
about
about
Daredevil, so let's
so
move
let's
right
go
into
into that.
that.
Right.
Daredevil is so first thing I wanted to mention, the episodes, they're dropping it down. It's no longer gonna be 17 episodes
Yeah.
per season. It's gonna be something like 12.
13, which is what the Netflix shows were. So essentially, we went from getting a brand new Daredevil Born Again, a brand new like Disney oriented one. No, Kevin Feige read the first couple episodes and he was like, "This is shit."
Yeah.
And so he let those people go. He brought in the stunt coordinator from the Netflix Daredevil series. He brought in the director of the Punisher series, and so the director from Punisher, which John Bernthal's Punisher is rumored to come back in Daredevil. Um, so they got the Punisher writer. God, we're burning time. We
We
got the
spent a
Punisher
lot on Madam
director,
Web.
Punisher director, Daredevil coordinator. Dropped the episodes down to 13. So essentially, we went from getting a brand new Daredevil project to Daredevil season 4,
Yeah.
which is badass. Wilson Bethel is also supposed to return as Bullseye.
Basically everyone.
Yeah, Foggy and Karen Page, like Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, they're back because in the original iteration they killed them off screen, which was stupid. And so
So
yeah,
let's give the downside and the positives. So the positive is people loved that show. So
yeah,
Kevin Feige made the right decision. He went to the people that were like, "You made this successful. You made this character successful. We brought back Charlie Cox, and people have loved every second of it. So
right,
clearly, we need to continue with this. What should we do?" They're following along that. I think fans are going to
right.
be happy about that.
They
The
went. They
biggest
made
negative, I think, though, is if you haven't seen those shows, you now have to watch them all.
sure, and they made them. They well, I think they're going to do a good job of just making the story original, but still having these older characters. I guess because
Sure.
like you see a character with the skull on his chest, you're gonna be like, that's Punisher. Like,
Hmm.
you're gonna see this guy that throws things that never misses. Marvel fans would be like, that's Bullseye. Like Nelson
Which
and Murphy.
Punisher's massive. Punisher has
Right.
one of the most recognizable logos,
Yeah.
brands ever. For
Right.
such a small hero, his logo's everywhere.
Right.
People just like, it's like Jack Skellington. For
Yeah.
some reason, he just has a massive following, even though it's not really anything super special.
Right.
just for some reason people are like, love that. And
Right.
Punisher's that way. I love that skull. I feel
Yeah.
so
Right.
badass in my giant Chevy, just
Right.
having the Punisher logo on the
I
back of
know.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that's honestly that's what I see all the time. Like even
Yeah.
around town, where there's a
Oh
couple
yeah.
big old trucks in town that have the
Yeah,
Punisher
and
logo.
the people who did either the stunt coordinator or the guy that directed Punisher, like he made Punisher from a side character in Daredevil, and it was so successful those episodes, that first half of season 2 or whatever, that they're like, shit, let's just do a freaking Punisher series too. And then that was successful, and they're like, oh shit, let's do a second season, and that was successful. And then obviously Marvel got their properties back.
And it
So,
helps having a godlike actor.
oh yeah, John Bernthal's insane,
Yep.
dude. He's
Everything he
so good.
does. Everything
It's
he
so good.
does.
Yeah.
He is like guys like Anthony Mackie and some other ones where he's classically trained in theater, read like he did like Shakespeare,
Yeah.
and the emotion, the level of emotion he probably learned from doing those sorts of like traditional theater training and theater acting just carries through movies to the point where it's like if he's not the main character, I feel bad for the main character, or you have to have somebody insane like Andrew
Yeah.
Lincoln side by
Right.
side.
Right.
Otherwise, he's gonna outshine everyone.
Yeah,
He's that
it's
good.
insane. And like what he does is just like his the scream. Like John Bernthal just has this like like it's I don't know how to put it into words, but you feel so like when he's doing that. It's I don't know. It's
There's two scenes immediately that jump out when you say John Bernthal scream for me, which is when in Walking Dead when the barn is full of zombies and they're keeping them in there and he's
right.
walking towards it to yell at them saying they need to kill him.
Yeah.
That scream that he does
And
there, and then
Herschel didn't, and he's just like, screw this. He goes kills all the
yeah,
walkers that Herschel's been keeping. Yeah.
that scene, his scream there, and the one that everybody's heard, the no 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 wait no no
Yeah.
no wait, that like he just has such a level of screaming that he's just emotion in general.
Yeah.
So Daredevil is gonna bring in all these different characters, and I think that's just a huge win.
Yeah.
There's no
100%.
downside to that, except for
Right.
if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it
Yeah.
now.
And from our we did talk about Echo last time. Anyway, Echo super successful. All the Disney Plus street level things saw a rise. So
Yep.
people want street level. Daredevil's gonna be huge.
Daredevil's
So
going to be massive. Street level is going to help revive what people are looking for the same reasons we mentioned: lack of visual effects, focused on story, fight cinematography, different
right.
camera angle, everything. Everything is going to be increased in quality, and I think it's going to help everyone, including fans. It'll help
Yeah,
them a lot.
sure.
We don't have a ton of time left, but that's fine. This is, in my opinion, the least important of the
Right.
topics. Deadpool 3 has finished filming. Deadpool
Right.
3 is going to be coming out. We all think it's going to be Kills the Fox universe. We saw long-haired Deadpool. We have
Yeah, Samurai
Dogpool.
Deadpool, Dogpool. Think there's a lady Deadpool maybe in there
We're
somewhere.
assuming that's going to be his wife, Ryan Reynolds'
Um,
wife,
there's
right? I
yeah,
think.
Blake Lively maybe.
Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
Blake Lively as Lady Deadpool would be
yeah,
funny.
that'd be fun.
Did we know Kid Pool's in it?
Yeah, there could be I believe the one of the villains, I forgot her name, Emma Corrin, something Corrin. She's gonna be playing Cassandra Nova, which I
Okay.
believe, which is Professor X's twin that he thought he killed in the womb, but he didn't kill them in the womb, and so it's like a evil Professor X, I think, is also going to be
Which
in
would
this
be
too.
the biggest nightmare in the world.
Right? Yeah, which would
Like
be
the
insane.
worst person you'd ever have to go up against. Like the best thing that the good guys have is the fact that Professor X is on our side.
Right.
So the idea of a Professor X on the bad guy side is just
Right.
terrifying.
Yeah. And you have to tie it into the MCU somehow. And I mean a lot of people still think that's going to be the TVA.
Yeah,
So
because
we're
Mobius is
rumored
in
to
it.
get we're rumored to get a trailer during the Super Bowl. So February 11th, we're rumored to be getting a Deadpool 3 trailer considering it comes out in July.
I hope it's not like a full length trailer. I hope is like so it's like usually like a 30-second slot. I
Right.
hope 15 seconds of it is Ryan Reynolds in his Deadpool suit sitting in a chair in front of a green screen just talking to
Yeah.
the camera.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all we need. Or maybe it's
Right.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman just talking.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Something.
we don't need a lot. Give away as little as possible
I
because fun
agree.
fact, everybody, a long start. It only started in like 2018 that we had all of a sudden people wanted to see the whole movie before it came out.
Yeah. Deadpool 3, if they show minimal, if
Hmm.
they show minimal, because we've already got a bunch of set leaks. If they show minimal on Deadpool 3, it could hit like every Deadpool's hit $1 billion so far.
Yep.
This could clear $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like it could just clear $1 billion.
Which
It's
Barbie cleared $1 billion.
right. Spider-Man No Way Home made 2 million.
From
Last two
Barbie,
Avengers movie
Barbie's
made two
trailers gave
million.
away nothing.
Yeah.
You know, everybody went into Barbie, and when they watched it, they were like, "That was not the movie I was expecting."
Right.
Crazy when you get to see something with that without
It's
expecting it.
so big. Like Deadpool's so big. Like people who don't even like Marvel love Deadpool
My
because
wife,
they love Ryan Reynolds.
yep,
Like it's
and Hugh Jackman now,
yeah, yeah.
but
So
Ryan Reynolds
yeah,
obviously is the big pool, but the
yeah.
big pull,
The big pool. Yeah.
big pool needs to be in it.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be amazing. The fact that it's finished up and it already is coming out in like 6 months.
Yeah,
It
they got a lot done before the strike and after the strike. So
and they kept going during it. They just couldn't do certain
yeah.
things while it was
Yep.
going on.
Right. Right.
We'll see what happens. Let us know. Do you think it's gonna tie in? Do you think Deadpool is gonna like die and this is kind of where Deadpool's story is gonna end? Or is Marvel gonna be like, no, this is way too much
We've
money. We
gotta,
have to
yeah.
put him in the
Oh
MCU.
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is gonna continue his empire and just continue destroying everything.
Right.
Um, let us know what you think. Do want to remind everybody, like, comment, share, and subscribe because that helps us out a lot. And my job gives me super, like, it makes my carpal tunnel super terrible. So I'd love to one day just to be able to do this forever. And
100%.
the more you subscribe, the closer we get to
The
that.
yeah, the milestones, I always say like every 10 is a milestone, but we hit 69, which is a milestone in itself. So
We did 69.
uh
Thank you for the 69. Very nice.
yeah, yeah. So 70 is that next one. So who's gonna be it? Who's gonna be that next one?
You.
So
You. All right, everybody. You all look great today. GG.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become